Hare Rama Krishna.
Do Hindus imagine their gods? Hinduism is the only religion in the world which presents a personal God in his form. The form of the Lord is known as Archa Vigraha, or worshipable deity form. Hindu theology says God and the deity are identical. However, outsiders invariably criticize Hindus for what they see as mere idol worship. Even more disconcerting to these outsiders is the fact that apparently so many gods are being worshipped by the Hindus. Lord Vishnu with 4 hands, Lord Narasimha in half lion, half human form, Shiva with the cobra around his neck and the crescent moon on his head, Durga in her fierce form with a trident treading over an asura, and Ganesh with his elephant head, and so on. Abrahamic religions claim they are monotheistic and see Hinduism as pantheistic, or worse still, merely imagining any form that one can come up with. Although Abrahamic religions say that they worship a single God, they are unable to say who that God is, nor how that God looks like. One can infer from this that they really don't know who is God. Just as if a person merely refers to the Prime Minister by title and is unable to say who the Prime Minister is or how he looks like, we will conclude that he really doesn't know who the Prime Minister is. If pushed, Abrahamic religionists will say that God is pure spirit, and thus his form cannot be imagined using any material form. In other words, although Abrahamic religions say they are monotheistic, they actually seem to be saying God is formless because of considering form to be a solely material conception. Now, surprisingly, most Hindus, despite worshipping many forms, also believe that ultimately the highest reality is Brahman, which is formless. Indeed, most Hindus say that because formless God is difficult to worship, one can imagine any form of God. Here is a sample clip from a well-known Hindu public personality articulating this view.
The way of worship, bhakti, temples, you have 333 million manifestations of God to choose from. Because since nobody around has actually seen God or knows what God looks like or has touched God, therefore, we, given the limitations of our human imagination, need to visualize God in some more accessible form. So if you want to imagine God as a pot-bellied man with an elephant head, that's fine. You want to imagine God as an 8-armed woman riding a tiger, that's fine too. And by the same logic, if you want to imagine God as a bleeding man on a cross, that is also acceptable to the Hindus.
Such a view cannot explain why Hindus over millennia have worshipped the same few forms. If forms are imagined, why no new forms of God have been invented and worshipped? The fact is that the Vedic religion is the only monotheistic religion in the world that accepts God as pure spirit and yet presents his transcendental form within the material world. One can ask, why then there are so many forms of God worshipped? Just as when we meet a person for the first time on the street, we will not know anything about his family, but one who knows him well will also know the names and forms of all his family members. Similarly, in most religions, only God is presented. Whereas in Hinduism or Vedic religion, God along with all the demigods are presented. Neither the form of God, Krishna or Vishnu, nor the forms of these demigods are imagined. One can actually travel to various planets where these demigods or even God lives in their own planet and see them if one becomes adept in yoga practice. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Yanti deva vrta devan, pitrun yanti pitrvrtaha, bhutani yanti bhutejya, yanti mam jeno api mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors go to the world of the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. And those who worship me, that is Krishna, will live with me, Krishna. Bhagavad Gita 9:25. Indeed, it is because of these adept yogis who have gone to these different planets and seen God and demigods personally that on the earthly planet we have the forms of these exalted personalities to worship. Every ordinary person keeps a photo of his family members. Why not a theist keep God or demigods in their known form? In summary, the Vedic religion distinguishes between God and demigods. Demigods are all material personalities but holding very, very high posts in this world. And they lead long lives but are also subject to birth and death. Again, Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, A Brahma Bhuvana Loke Punaravartino Arjuna Mam Upetyatu Kaunteya Punarjanmana Vidyate. From the highest planet in the material world called Brahmaloka down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, Lord Krishna says, never takes birth again. Bhagavad Gita 8:16. Although subject to birth and death, because such demigods lead a very, very long term of life, they are called Amara or deathless, but only in comparison to our short human spans of life. Lord Brahma, in fact, has a lifespan as long as the duration of an entire material creation, which is 311 trillion and 40 billion years. During this period, beginning from Lord Shiva, who appears from Lord Brahma himself, and all the other demigods are born. The highest perfection as per Hinduism or Vedic religion is therefore to worship God, Krishna or Vishnu, and attain his highest abode of immortality. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashyami masuchaka, Krishna says at the end of Bhagavad Gita. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me, Lord Krishna. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Bhagavad Gita 18:66.
So, we request everyone to come to the temple because he will have the impression what is Krishna, how he looks. Here is Krishna. It is not imagination. Don't think it is imagination. We have imagined some form, just like the Mahabharata say, it is imagination. No, it is fact. Because this Krishna, this form of Krishna, our forefathers, our acharyas, they have seen when Krishna is present on this planet. And there are many, many old temples, the same feature of Krishna, two hands, playing on the flute, and anywhere you will see Krishna, he has got this flute, because that is his most beloved, favorite instrument. That is stated in the Shastra, not imagination.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.